We were talking about, Susie was just mentioning it, about how that people will accept stuff now that's just sounds good and takes God out. If you ever just stop and think about how people can just look right at something, seeing the same thing that you see, but yet not seeing. Just like we was talking about the Islamic religion. All of the evidence, I mean, you can go back from the beginning. All of the evidence will show that it has been a violent religion from the time Muhammad brought it forth. There's been death and destruction in its path all through. And yet we look at it and we call it peaceful. What is that? Why can't we see that? When we got the stir now going on about Ben Carson said he was not, that he would not agree with having a Muslim president. And everybody's, not everybody, but a lot of folks is just giving him fits. But there is not one Muslim nation that has a Christian president or a Jewish president. There's not one that has a Christian or a Jew in the cabinet. Why is it that folks can't see this? Folks, it's a supernatural blindness that we're looking at. And it's got man to where they can look right at what is happening and not see. Not see. And that's exactly what the devil has done from the very beginning. And we want to look tonight. We'll start over, and we've read this a lot of times, but I want us to understand why it is that folks are seeing, looking at the same thing, looking at all the evidence and not seeing it. Sometimes I'll be on the computer and somebody will say something that is just totally ridiculous, and you'll want to slap them conscious, but you understand and know they're not going to see. They absolutely are not going to see. It's going to take the Spirit of God to break that blindness. They won't hear what you say, and they won't see what you present, because they have been spiritually blinded. And it is a plan, and it is going to bring this thing into fulfillment. And it is bringing it into fulfillment, just like the Bible said. Now, in Isaiah 14, he's talking about the king of Babylon, and he's using the devil as a type or a comparison. And we just want to read that one verse, 12. Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? That word Lucifer, it means brightness or light. That son of the morning means day star. And 2 Peter 1 and 19 refers to Jesus as the day star. Same thing, same words. But how is this? Because in the beginning, before his fall, Lucifer was an angel of revelation. He brought revelation. That's what he was created to do, into the earth, to prepare the earth for the coming Adam, to bring the revelation of God. And he's called the same name that Jesus is called. Jesus was the Son of God, the Son of revelation. Yeah. The devil started out. Now the devil was created being Jesus was always, but since sin was found in the devil, since he was cast out of heaven, he has no anointing, but he is still the same devil. You see what I'm saying? I mean, he ain't lost his mind. He knows how to present things as a revelation and make men blind to the fact that what he is showing them is destroying them. They won't see it as anything but a Revelation, a greater revelation. And he gets man where they cannot see what they're looking right at. A classic example, and again, it's fulfilling Bible prophecy. But a classic example is we're making a nuclear deal with Iran. They are crying death to America, death to Israel. We are letting them do their own inspections. Now, just sitting here, that says, well, that's crazy. Why are we doing it? And when you ask folks about that, they say, oh, it's not that we trust them. We just need this deal. We're going to verify it. We're verifying it through what they say. 24 days, and then if they need it, 24 more. Yeah. But the people that voted for that is also here in America. If Iran shot a nuclear weapon into the atmosphere, they would be affected too. Why aren't they seeing that? Because there's a blindness, a supernatural blindness, folks, going on. The evidence should make it powerfully clear, but it's not. That's what Lucifer does. He is the son of the morning. He is that cherub that brings what he presents. He's still presenting it as a great revelation. He makes man believe that his intelligence is all that matters, and then he gives man the thought that he wants him to think. And it doesn't look like a trap. He presents it in such a way that it looks good. It doesn't look like a trap. If it looked like a trap, nobody would do it. But in his presentation, he makes it look like a beneficial thing. And as I studied, I thought about when we first moved over there, where we're at now, we had some little old banty chickens. Well, they were grown, but banties ain't more big that big. And up in the house, the roost pole was right under a crack. And we had a coon go up there and pull their heads off at night, sitting on that roost pole, killed them all but the little rooster. Wow. Well, we got to have a hard trap and set it down over there. And baited that thing up with a honey bun. Now, coons love sweet stuff. And we got the game camera from Nate and them, and we saw the coon. But he was a big coon. And he was used, I guess, to seeing traps. He would walk around that trap, but it looked like a trap. He would not go in. Until I got a brainstorm. I got me a mural and put it at the back of that trap. Now, when he looks through the door, the open door, there's a coon in there doing good. You know what he done? First night, walked right in. Because I presented that thing not as a trap, but as food. And there was another coon in there, and he was doing good. And he walked right in there. First night, I'd been trying to catch it for 2 weeks. But that thing, as long as it looked like a trap, he didn't move. He'd walk around it. But the minute it looked like somebody else was doing it and getting by, he walked right in. And that's exactly the same way that the devil does, folks. He does not make his traps look like a trap. If it looked like a trap, folks would see it. But he blinds the eye so it does not look like a trap. Now, Paul in 2 Corinthians 4, 3 and 4, and you just write it down, we're not going there to read it, but he talks about the devil, and he said, if our gospel is hid, it's hid to them that are lost. That Satan has blinded the mind of the truth. If the gospel's hid, in other words, if they can't see what this says, it's because their mind has been blinded. Now, what he does, he takes the gospel, the only thing that can free man, and makes man believe that it's a trap to put them in bondage. Man who will not accept the gospel, if you begin to talk to him, will talk about, oh, I'm not going over there. They're just, that's just control. They just want your money. You ever heard this? They just want your money. That's just control. It's just, all they want to do, is just tell you what to do. It looks like a trap. He switched. he switched the vision so that which could free man looks like a trap, and that which can kill him looks like a new revelation, a greater revelation. You know, the world calls you a Bible thumper, a religious fanatic. And most of them does not even know really what the Bible says, because they have been told it was a trap. And see, I saw a thing this week where an Islamic man had wrote a post about Ben Carson, saying we didn't need an Islamic president. And he was talking about the Bible, what the Bible said, how the Bible told us to kill our enemies and to take their women and to rape their children. And he said, that's all in the Bible. He ain't read the Bible, but he has believed what a deceiver told him. Yes. Now, he can see Islam is killing folks, but he thinks the Bible is the evil book. Because the devil has made people believe that which could save them will kill them, and that which is killing them is a new revelation. Now, 2 Corinthians 11, 14, and 15 talks about how Satan has transformed himself into an angel of light. In other words, still today. See, he was created an angel of light, and still today he works under that same premise that he is bringing revelation. And the Bible said it was a small thing. If he's transformed himself into an angel of light, it's a small thing that his ministers transform themselves into the ministers of righteousness. In other words, he has got ministers preaching a doctrine that sounds like it's good. You ever wonder why people that have been in church for years and years and years and years, studied the Bible, can suddenly start just embracing stuff that's against the Bible and think it's because they've got a higher revelation? It's because the enemy has told them that. The enemy has come along and changed the truth into what looks like a greater revelation. And I hear this all the time. And if you're around religious folks, you'll hear this. Oh, so-and-so has got a greater revelation on that. Well, if it's not what the Bible says, guess where he got it? Now, there are things we don't know in the Bible. I mean, absolutely, we're learning all the time. But if the Bible don't back it up, any revelation the Bible don't back up, it's brought by the deceiver. He has brought it where it looks like it's from God, but it is not. Now, most of these folks, because if they really had a desire to just cast off God, they'd just cast him off and say, well, we don't believe in nothing. Most of these folks, it's not because they're trying to cast off God. It's because the devil has confused them and blinded them into believing that God is something that he's not. Yeah. And if you can get folks scared of God, you can tell them about anything. Or if you can get folks believing that God really don't care what you do, as long as you throw his name in there, you can tell them about anything. And there are huge movements of the greater revelation. Yeah. Huge movements. Yeah. People write books, and people will accept what the book says more than what they accept what this book says. I mean, people that's been in church, they will accept what a movie says more than what this book says. He does. Again, when he gets you to the place where you can no longer see that right's right and wrong's wrong, he's out to destroy you to start with, and now he's got you walking like a zombie, following him. And and we talked about it a few weeks ago, so many of these people who have been caught up in this new revelation stuff, if you get around them, act exactly like spiritual zombies. It's just like they're not thinking. It's just moving. It's just moving with whatever he says. And see what he does. In a lot of these cases, he will have people doing good stuff for people. And I've had people tell me, well, I know God's with them because look how much good they're doing. Do you understand that some of the greatest charities in America is absolutely anti-God? Yes. If you'll get down to what they believe and what they say, they're anti-God. Because they're caught up in man being God. And so much of this new movement is the same way. They're looking at how much good we do. It's focusing on man, not on Jesus. And folks, I don't care how much good we're doing. That's wonderful. But it won't take you to heaven, because all the good that we do still cannot remove the sin out of our lives. And so that's exactly what he's doing. And yet, see, when so much of America began to look at the devil as something that used to be but isn't anymore, so he become hid. We fell into all sorts of stuff, folks. But the truth, the Bible tells us, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Well, the flip side of that, if you don't know the truth, whatever else you're doing, it's binding you in something that's going to kill you. It's going to bind you and kill you. But the devil is doing a number on people, folks, by making them believe that they have actually got a greater revelation than what the apostles taught and what Jesus taught. And to show you how he fools with folks' mind, when the Supreme Court said that it should be legal for gays to marry, Facebook lit up with the gay pride colors. And a lot of them was on Christian websites. The Supreme Court said it's all right, so it's all right. No, the Supreme Court said it wasn't. But see, he changed that because people are embracing it. Everybody wants to be liked. And we've come to that place where when we take God out of everything, not even realizing that's what we're doing, then whatever society is going along with, we have the tendency to follow. Yeah. It's supposed to be that society would follow what the church was teaching, because we were sent to be the light of the world. But we've got to the place where the church follows whatever society is teaching. And it's because we have the enemy that is he's still that, bringing that revelation, what it looks like revelation, to folks. And like I said, I've got friends, people. I've got friends that used to be on fire. Yeah. That now, they still think that they're just fine. But they've turned everything around. And the way they're walking is not what the Bible teaches. It's not what they used to walk in, not what they used to say. See, it's a new, we call it New Age, but it's really a very old age. It started from the beginning. Now, Isaiah 5:20 says this: woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that puts bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe. And when you see that woe in the Bible, it means destruction. It means judgment. And he said, woe unto them that switch this thing around. You know, we even say things. We've even taught ourselves to say it. Something that's really good, we'll say, boy, that's bad. That's bad. But no, we really mean that's good. But what he has done, what the devil has done, is literally did that. He has literally got man looking at what's destroying them and thinking that is good. The mind's been blinded, and what has become darkness to them, they've accepted as light. Now, those folks that, you know, the satanic worshipers are growing in leaps and bounds. Those that just cast out anything about God and just decide to serve Satan, they're growing. They're a fast moving. I don't know whether you want to call it a denomination or not, but they are a fast moving religion. And a lot of them came right out of the churches. Yeah. But what they see, the thing that they fell for, and all of them that I ever saw writing or say anything says this. They believe that in the very beginning, Satan was the liberator and God was the binder. They said, they'll say things like, Satan wanted God, the reason that God kicked him out, Satan wanted God to turn man loose to all the pleasures that he could be experiencing, and God wanted to keep him bound. So they look at Satan as the great liberator, because under Satan now I can do everything I want to do, and Satan just loves me. Yeah, he loves you, all right. He's destroying you in it. If I want to take drugs and get high, he's all right with that. Loving you to death. But that's what they teach, that from the very beginning, the reason that the rebellion was there is because God wanted to keep man bound. And so they teach the truth as something that binds you, not sets you free. And it's growing. They got high priests and priestesses and all, and they meet and they worship just like churches meet and worship. Now, in 1 Timothy 4:2, it talks about people in the last days that's left the faith, just what we was talking about there, and has their conscience seared. In other words, they've come to that place to where they don't no longer feel a moral obligation for anything, and they don't feel any guilt at all. And nothing is more clear that that's where we're at than when you watch those videos of Planned Parenthood, and they're sitting there sipping wine and laughing about how much they can get for baby body parts, and how that they keep them alive and keep the parts fresh if they're born alive. They don't feel any guilt. They're sitting there having a time. The conscience has been seared. They're not looking at these babies as humans at all. Who told them that? See? We got a greater revelation. It's not a human until it has the capacity to reason. And our own vice president said yesterday that he believed that life started at conception, yet he says nothing about abortion. What is that? That's a totally searing of the conscience and blinding of the mind. The transformer of light, folks, has cast these folks as liberators. And that anybody that says anything about the abortion, you know what they're saying? They're against women's health. They're against women's health. Now, I don't think abortion's really good for women's health. And I know it's not good for the baby's health. Well, see, that whole thing, the devil will show you how good it is until he kills you with it. Till he absolutely kills you with it. Now, see, it was the first tactic that the devil ever pulled on man. Yep. He started making good look bad and bad look good. Now, over in Genesis, where the woman took of the forbidden fruit, it says this in Genesis 3:6, and when the woman saw, now God had told them about this fruit, that it would kill them, and it said when the woman saw the tree was good, the key word is was good, for food, and that it was pleasant to the eye, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now everything that God had said was bad suddenly became good. She saw it was good. The Bible didn't say that it was good. She saw it as good. It didn't say the fruit was good to eat. She saw it as good to eat. The revelation had been switched. Wow. And there's no telling. See, we read that story like, God put them in the garden one day, and the next day she's over eating the forbidden fruit. But we don't know how long they were in that garden, and there's no telling how many times Eve passed that tree, looked at it, and looked at it as something evil because God said it was. Yeah. Don't touch it. No telling how many times she passed it and understood what God had told her. But when she talked to the deceiver. The next time she looked at it, it was good. He had switched the revelation. What she had known for the fact was suddenly absolutely upside down and backwards. And she could not see what she was looking directly at. It's the same thing that's happening right here and across the world. And across the world. You know, we was talking about the Islamic refugees that's been brought in here. We're not bringing in any of the Christians. You notice that? They're killing the Christians wholesale, and nobody's bringing in the Christians. Nobody's asking why. See that? Totally blinded to the facts of what is happening. And we're making excuses. I saw today, no, it was yesterday, where the Syrian refugees is like 75% or better young men between 19 and 30. Yes. Young men. And the guy said the reason that they were all young men is because ISIS was taking the young men and making them fight. Well, if you look at what the news are reporting, they're taking the women as slaves and killing the kids. Yes. So the young men ran off and left their sisters and wives and mothers. No, we're getting a different image than what the truth of it is. See? We are being, and Europe's being invaded, and we're being invaded. And not refugees, invaded. Invaded. We're not seeing what is happening. We're talking about Eve looking at that tree. Now, I've been here a few years, and I hope I'm here till the Lord comes, but I can remember in my lifetime when everybody understood that homosexuality was not a normal action. Suddenly it is. Suddenly being straight's crazy. I can remember a time, and there were people that had abortions, but most people would tell you that abortion's a bad thing. Now it's nothing. We've got, nothing. How did that change? What we are allowing him to put in our minds. I heard a guy say today that, what was it, back in the 30s? Anyway, when they call it the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yeah. Al Capone.
Al Capone killed 15 on St. Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And he said, we still call it a massacre. Yet more than that dies every week in Chicago, and nobody says nothing. They don't call it a massacre. Our mind's just numbed. It's just a normal thing. The devil is doing the work right in front of our eyes, and nobody is. It's not registering. They see it, but it's not registering. The conscience is seared. The conscience is seared. He makes this all look. That's just life. That's just normal. That's just. See, even people, the Black Lives Matter movement. They say nothing about all this that's happening in Chicago. What is that? Hell, anywhere. Look over at Luke, the 11th chapter. Jesus said this. We'll start at verse 33, Luke 11. No man, when he has lighted a candle, puts it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they may see, that they which come in may see the light. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thine eye is single, the whole body is full of light. But when thy eye is evil, the body also is full of darkness. Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. Do you see that? If the whole body, therefore, be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when the light shining of a candle doth give thee light. Jesus said, the eye, when it's single, in other words, when it's got its vision right, it can see the light. But if it doesn't have its vision right, then what it's seeing as light is darkness. Do you understand that? I guarantee you could go talk to any of them. in the abortion clinics, and none of them would say, I'm evil. Providing a service. If you could have talked to Hitler, he wouldn't have thought he was evil because he killed all those Jews. He was saving Germany. He was saving Germany. That was the idea. That was his idea. But see, again, if you get away from this standard of truth, the devil will give you another standard. And the standard he gives you, folks, will kill you and destroy everything around you. If the eye's single, the whole body is full of light. In other words, he's talking about if the eye's looking at the truth, that got the standard of truth. But with the eye is evil, the body also is full of darkness. Not understanding the difference between what is good and what is evil. Now, that's what he does. Disguises the truth to make the truth look bad and the evil look good. In Revelation 13, where it talks about the false prophet, 11 and 18, you can read that. And the emphasis there should be on prophet. He was a prophet, a false prophet. And he's prophesying in a spiritual manner. He does miracles and persuades the world to follow the Antichrist and make an image. Because the Antichrist, what the Antichrist will be doing at this time, will look good to man. Do you understand that? When the Antichrist comes into full power, the earth will be in bad shape. There will be people hungry. The Antichrist will be feeding them. That's what the number's all about. And so the false prophet comes. Prophet. Speaking spiritual stuff. And talks folks into making an image of the Antichrist and taking the mark. See, this is the truth. The goodness that you see man doing. And if it's good, it's good. But I'm talking about it does not mean that he's following the Lord. It does not mean that he, at the end product, will not destroy you. Absolutely. He's still God. He's still God. To accept the mark is to accept the Antichrist. God's God. And you can look, there's Christians that went through all sorts of stuff. There's people in jail right now that will not deny the faith. Because, you know. Well, look at the guy over in Iran. How long has he been there? He's got a wife and kids here. We need to go when the trumpet sounds. And say, John, we're going to read this and we're going to let you go. And I'm going to tell you, let me just say this, folks. In these last days and the way these things are going, and we got the media that, you know, that carries the cameras around and you see all the good some of these folks are doing. We need to realize this. No leader that's a true leader is going to put the focus on anybody except Jesus. I don't care what works he's doing. If the focus is not Jesus, then he's not a leader. He's not a leader. The whole Bible focuses on Jesus, folks. Any leader that's not focusing on Jesus is I mean, and let me tell you, the humanistic, you know, let's do it together. Let's get together. Let's all of us do it. It sounds good. But humanist is a religion also. It just puts man in God's place. And, you know, looking at the TV today, it sure looked a lot like that. We saw a man go where Christ wouldn't be welcome, and thousands followed him. But John 15:22, Jesus said this, "If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin." In other words, he said if they didn't have any foundation to stand on, if they had no standard for truth, they would have an excuse. But because I have gave them the standard of truth from the Father, it's sin. They have no excuse for their sin. And those folks that are leaving the faith, some of them never really had it. But some did. But those that are following after a new revelation that leaves out the gospel have no excuse. Have no excuse. And I know we talk a lot about deception, but Jesus did too. And the closer we get to the end time, the greater the deception is going to be, and the greater the spirit is going to be that says, come on and follow this, because look, everybody is. The stronger that spirit's going to grow, the closer we get to the end time. Because, like I said, again, another one of those things when I talked about the rapture of the church, a lot of folks teach that rapture like nothing's going to happen, that you're not going to be under any kind of pressure. Yes, we are. That's what's going to perfect the church. That's what's going to, because pressure drives the church to its knees.
Yeah.
It does. Very little else does. But what Jesus said is exactly what's going to happen. And the truth of the gospel is the only thing that can bring us to salvation. And if somebody comes along wanting to show you a greater revelation, let him show it to you in the book. Because if it ain't in there, you don't need it. It's there to destroy you. And I guarantee you, Satan has got some smooth talkers these days. Smooth talkers. that is highly intelligent on the things of the world. Highly intelligent. But he doesn't have the Holy Spirit that God sent you that will allow you to discern the difference. All right.